সাড়া দেওয়ার জন্য সবাইকে অশেষ ধন্যবাদ। আপনাদের উপস্থিতি আমাকে অনেক অনুপ্রাণিত করেছে। আমি আপনাদের কাছে কৃতজ্ঞ। অটিজম ও প্রতিবন্ধী আজকের পৃথিবীর অটিজম ও প্রতিবন্ধী আজকের পৃথিবীর অনেক আলোচিত বিষয়। অটিজমকে সম্প্রতিকালে বিশেষজ্ঞরা অটিজম সিনড্রোম ডিসঅর্ডার বলে আখ্যায়িত করেছেন। এর কোনো জাদুকরী চিকিৎসা নেই এবং এর সঠিক কারণও জানা নেই। পৃথিবীর উন্নত দেশসমূহে অটিজমের নানা ধরনের চিকিৎসা বের হয়েছে। তার ভিতর সবচেয়ে প্রচলিত ও কার্যকরী চিকিৎসা হচ্ছে বিশেষ শিক্ষা পদ্ধতি সমূহ। উন্নত দেশগুলিতে অটিস্টিক ব্যক্তিদের শিক্ষা ও কর্মক্ষেত্র তাদের অধিকার প্রতিষ্ঠা করার লক্ষ্যে অনেক এগিয়ে গেলেও বাংলাদেশ এখন অনেক পিছিয়ে। সম্প্রতি ঢাকা বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ে সেন্টার ফর নিউরো ডেভেলপমেন্ট অ্যান্ড অটিজম ইন চিলড্রেন চালু করা হয়েছে। ঢাকায় আরও কিছু শিক্ষা পদ্ধতি রয়েছে, কিন্তু শহরের বাইরে গ্রামে তেমন কোনো প্রতিষ্ঠান ও চিকিৎসার বন্দোবস্ত নেই। গ্রামে গঞ্জে চিকিৎসার বন্দোবস্তের জন্য সবাইকে সচেতনতার আহ্বান জানাচ্ছি। তবে মানুষ এখন অনেক সচেতন হয়েছে। বাংলাদেশ এখন অটিস্টিক অ্যাওয়ারনেস ডে বলে চালিত করা হয়েছে। আগে অটিজম সম্বন্ধে আমাদের কোনো ধারণা ছিল না। কোনো শিশু প্রতিবন্ধী হলে বাবা মা তাদেরকে লুকাতে চেষ্টা করতেন, সমাজ তাদেরকে গ্রহণ করত না। স্কুলে যাওয়া বা আত্মীয় স্বজনের কাছ থেকে লুকিয়ে রাখা হতো। সবচেয়ে কষ্ট হতো সেই মায়েদের যারা এই সন্তানের জন্ম দিত। এই শিশুদের মাঝে শারীরিক ও মানসিক প্রতিবন্ধিতা থাকলেও তাদের ভিতরেও একটা সুপ্ত প্রতিভা থাকে, একটা বিশেষ বিষয়ে যোগ্যতা থাকে। সমাজের আগোচরে যেসব শিশুরা সংসারের অনাবিল আনন্দ ও উচ্ছ্বাস থেকে বঞ্চিত, তাদের জন্য আমরা যেন এগিয়ে আসতে পারি। সেই অসহায় অভিভাবকদের পাশে দাঁড়িয়ে তাদের মনে আশার আলো আনতে পারি। বিশেষ চাহিদা সম্পন্ন এ সকল শিশু কিশোরদের জন্য প্রয়োজন বিশেষ শিক্ষা ব্যবস্থাপনা। তাদের জীবনের উন্নয়নের জন্য প্রয়োজন স্বাস্থ্য, শিক্ষা, খেলাধুলা ও সাংস্কৃতিক সংস্পর্শ। অটিস্টিক আক্রান্ত ব্যক্তিরা কোনো ক্রমেই সমাজের বোঝা নয়। সঠিক পরিচর্যা ও সেবা পেলে তাদের অনেকেই নিজেদের যোগ্যতার স্বাক্ষর রাখতে পারে বলে আশা করি। আপনাদের সকলের সহানুভূতি ও সাহায্য ছাড়া এ কাজকে সফল কাম করা অসম্ভব। আমি আবারও আপনাদের ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি এত ব্যস্ততার মাঝেও আপনাদের মূল্যবান সময় দিয়ে এখানে উপস্থিতির জন্য। আগামীতে আবার আপনাদের সবার সাথে দেখা হবে আশা করি। সবাই ভালো থাকুন, সুস্থ থাকুন। ধন্যবাদ।
So during this time, SHEBI was able to raise $210,000. And this was all given towards different types of projects in Bangladesh, from scholarships to reconstruction to building of schools, and also in support of one of the more major achievements that happened in 1992. And so this major achievement was the building of a cyclone shelter, which is also used as a school. And this was in response to the cyclone which happened in 1991. And so this was a major achievement through raising $90,000 here in Boston. From 2009 onwards, we've been focusing more specifically on students who have developmental needs. So this is students who have autism, have blindness, and this is an area of great need in Bangladesh. And the reason for this is there just aren't a lot of schools in Bangladesh that work with students who have disabilities. And so to give you a little bit of understanding of what the scope of disability in Bangladesh is, there's about 280,000 students who suffer from autism. And there's actually an issue with even just this number, and it's that there's a lack of resources for diagnosis of autism. So it's possible that this number is actually much larger than what we understand it to be. Another statistic for you is that 1.5 in 1,000 students suffer from blindness. And with proper education for students who either have autism, blindness, or other disabilities, there is training that can be offered to these students that would make them functional members of society. And so SHEBI has been looking at different opportunities to support different schools that are in Bangladesh. And so we have a list here at the bottom of the slide. There is a number of different schools who work with disabled students. The ones in blue are schools that we hope to have a partnership with in the future, and the ones in black are ones that we have an existing partnership with. Ongoing from 2015 until 2018, we hope to do a lot of different things in Bangladesh with these different schools. So we hope to raise $70,000, and we hope to do it for the different points that we have listed over here. For teacher training, there just aren't enough teachers that work with disabled students in Bangladesh. Also for teaching materials for schools that are underfunded, providing raw funds, providing information to these target schools, just so that they can become more specialized and have the latest techniques. And to set up vocational training schools also in the areas listed in the bottom bullet. So I just want to say thank you to everyone also. From last year, we were able to raise almost $5,000 from the event that we had last year. With these donations, we have primarily been able to support the partnership that we have with BRAC University. And this has been in the form of teacher training. And we have a consultant with SHEBI who has been going to Bangladesh and has been working with teachers. She is a special needs teacher here in the States, in Texas, and so she has a specialized training that's required. One of the other schools that we have a partnership with now is the Scholars Special School, and that's in Mahmudpur in Dhaka. They cater to children who have Down syndrome, autism, developmental delays. And they have a number of different types of projects, such as block printing, cooking, sewing, different activities that help students with developmental issues to catch up, basically. Currently, Scholars Special School is suffering from a lack of funding, and this is where SHEBI is hoping to fill a gap. Some of the schools that we have on the list of schools to help are Shojan School in Uttara, a school in Modhupur, the Dekwab School, Autism Welfare Foundation, Ashar Alo, the Buddhi Pratibandhi School in Kushtia, the Bogra Autism Care Center, and Proyash. And now Borna is going to talk about the consultant that we have at SHEBI and the activities that she's had with BRAC University. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. As Seema mentioned, I'm going to be speaking, highlighting SHEBI's current SHEBI activities, which Farzana Islam, who's a special ed teacher that Seema previously mentioned, has been working a lot with BRAC. She's a board certified teacher and a special education teacher, so this is her area of expertise. She specialized in autism spectrum disorder, speech, language, sensory, and various disabilities. So last year in June, she went to BRAC at the Institute for Development of Education, and there she trained 18 professionals on inclusive education. Her curriculum focused on children with disabilities, and so through that course, that training program, she provided basic information on disability, special education, characteristics of special needs children, and classroom strategies for working with special needs children. And here's some pictures of her during the training. And I'd like to share a quote from one of the participants. This person said, after several years, we participated in an informal training where we could express freely about our thoughts and ask questions. Farzana, while she was in Bangladesh last year, she also visited a number of schools and met with teachers and parents. And she shared basic strategies regarding classroom management and effective parenting communication. What she found was that parents were concerned regarding their proper education for their children. The director, or the vice chancellor at BRAC University, shared that this training of the trainers was very beneficial, and acknowledged and appreciated the work that Farzana did with the support of SHEBI. So currently, Farzana and SHEBI are working with BRAC and to develop a course on special education. It's a master's course, and this course will prepare teachers to teach all students in a heterogeneous classroom, including students with special needs. So through this course, participants will gain a basic knowledge about special education and various disabilities. The instructor guide will guide participants on characteristics and strategies of most common disabilities that include autism spectrum disorder, autism attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or everyone may be familiar with ADHD, and special and language impairment and behavior management. So through SHEBI's efforts and BRAC, in partnership with BRAC, when we're really interested in employing speech-language pathologists, so there are a number of gaps that have been identified that we are trying to help fill. And so speech-language pathologists are very key for the care of children with disabilities. Speech-language pathologists, they prevent, assess, diagnose, and treat speech, language, social communication, cognitive communication, and swallowing disorders in children and in adults. The average cost for a pathologist in the US is generally from $100 to $200 per hour. And in the public schools, they're generally no cost to children and families. Another occupation, which is very important and plays a key role in a child's development, is an occupational therapist. And it's a form of therapy for recuperating from physical or mental illness that encourages rehabilitation through the performance of activities required in daily life. So they focus on activities that give life meaning, from self-care to leisure to work. So an average cost for a therapist is generally around $55 to $120 per session. And that's in the US. So in addition to, those were two people who play key roles, there's also a number of other ways that we can support children there, and that's through apparatus, contraptions that a lot of the schools in Bangladesh do not have. And so these schools can benefit from low-end to high-end sensory activities within school systems as students with autism and ADHD. And here are some pictures of the apparatus and contraptions. So a multi-sensory environment, it's an environment that engages special needs children and adults to promote heightened intellectual activity, relaxation, and motivation. So these environments remove the distractive from the outside world and stimulates senses through touch, taste, sound, smell, and movement. So one of the many benefits of this type of environment can reduce sensitivity, enhance communication, decrease tension, lessen anxiety, increase focus, and decrease negative behavior. So some ways that we can support these schools to support such an environment is a ball pit crash pad and a ball pit, which you can see in these pictures. And these types of apparatus really help with these autistic, ADHD, and others who have disabilities. And these generally cost from $200 to $700. Oral motor is another area where it's critical for these types of children. So speech pathology and speech therapy focuses on more than just articulation. Children with autism and other developmental delays can benefit from speech therapy. Speech pathologists stress communication and oral motor skills, and they're important factors in the overall development of these children. So oral motor exercises are important for increasing muscle tone, muscle strength, so that speech is possible. So some oral motor products include chewy tubes, toys, Z-Vibes, probes, blowing games, and oral motor accessories. As you can see, there's some in the picture here, and they cost from $5 to $10. So it's really important to have integration of various sensories. So sensory experiences include touch, movement, body awareness, sight, sound, and the pull of gravity. The process that the brain organizes and interprets this information is called sensory integration. So sensory integration provides crucial foundation for later, more complex learning and behavior. So for autistic children, ADHD, and many other disabled individuals, failures and distortions in sensory organization are normal. They live in a confusing and sometimes frightened world where forms and sounds keep shifting and changing. So some apparatus for sensory integration includes trampolines, which an average cost from $75 to $150. And then there are textured balance pods, balance beams, and balance disc, and those range from $45 to $200. Some more includes therapy balls, hop and jump balls, Sensi roll, which that's around $30 to $100. It also includes therapy swings, platform swings, step rocking boat, which that ranges from $50 to $300. And that's it. Thank you again.
To some of these schools in Bangladesh on behalf of SHEBI.
So I'm going to talk about my recent trip to Bangladesh and my experiences there. So, the true heroes in the world are those who work to better the lives of others, those whose selfless deeds often go unnoticed, those who are ardently committed to the pursuit of freedom. Not many perceive education as a form of freedom, but in a country such as Bangladesh, where education and poverty are the difference between self-improvement, education can really make a difference. While ignorance leaves people in shackles, education gives people the key to unlock their full potential. It gives us hope for a better future, awareness of the world around us, and the tools to make a difference. The people courageous enough to make that difference are true heroes. The educators and students that I met in Bangladesh are the epitome of such true heroes. On my trip to Bangladesh last winter, I had the pleasure of visiting different schools specializing in educating special needs children, namely the Scholars Special School in Mohammadpur and the BRAC Nobodhara School head office in Niketan. I talked to various teachers and administrators, and I was amazed by their compassion and their immense dedication to helping their students. They all expressed their dreams for their schools, but lamented their limitations in fulfilling those goals. Just to give you some background, there are over 158 million people in our small country of Bangladesh, making it one of the most densely populated nations in the world. It is estimated that around 2.6 million children suffer from some type of disability or impairment, including autism, deafness, and blindness. Although some laws have been made to support the rights and education of such of such individuals suffering from such conditions, such as the Persons with Disabilities Rights and Protections Act in Bangladesh, which was enacted in 2013, there is much that remains to be done. This is a great step forward, but in order to increase common knowledge of such disabilities, we need to have people be more aware of such conditions. The increasing rate of ASD worldwide underscores the need for greater support and awareness of the condition and the obstacles facing those who have it. One of the schools I visited was the Brack Novodhara School head office in Nikiton. They explained that there remains a societal stigma around special needs, which prevents many families in rural areas from seeking help for their children. This way of thinking perpetuates a culture of fear about disabilities and prevents parents from fully understanding the condition of their child and how to best help them. Teachers also explained that educators require more information on the best methods for creating an accessible learning environment for their special needs children. And also, they would like more information on the disabilities themselves and how it impairs students both mentally and physically. SHEBI had conducted a series of teaching seminars on ASD to educators in Bangladesh, and many teachers noted how helpful they were. They expressed enthusiasm for similar programs, saying that such discussions are vital for better understanding autism and other disabilities. One teacher wisely noted that knowing more about what difficulties students face as a result of their disability is most helpful in creating a productive learning environment for them. Visiting the Scholars Special School in Mohammadpur was the experience that was most near to my heart, because it is where I was able to interact with students the most. Every day I went, I looked forward to meeting students because their enthusiasm and passion for learning. Despite their meager resources, they were content with everything that they had. Coming from America, where children usually take things for granted, it was heartwarming to see students who were so happy with what little they had. I especially cherish a memory of a young student, Asha, whose picture is up there. She presented a traditional Bengali dance for me. When I first walked into the classroom, I noticed that Asha was sitting in the corner, rocking back and forth gently. She was keeping to herself. She was very shy. When I introduced myself to her and asked her name, she avoided my gaze and quietly said, Asha. Then a teacher gently spoke to her and said, would you like to dance? She smiled and repeated, yes, dance. While dancing, she lost all of the shyness she had when I first met her. Instead, she was filled with pure joy, moving around the room with passion and grace. After the dance was over, she took a bow, and the whole room erupted into applause. All the students were cheering her on. She looked around at all of us and covered her face, tears of happiness streaming down her face. I walked up to her and personally told her how much I loved the dance. She looked into my eyes and gave me a hug. As I hugged her back, I felt humbled by the joy that these children find in every little activity, feeling ashamed at how much I take for granted in my own life. My eyes teared up thinking of how simple these children's wishes are. In Bangla, Asha means hope, and this girl definitely symbolized hope for the future. Her happiness inspired me to want to be able to give students more and see them even happier. As I walked around the classrooms of Scholars Special, I noticed that they were very bare. The relative excesses of the schools that I grew up in saddened me because students here deserve just as much, if not more. In the USA, schools have playgrounds and games in every classroom, and many of which are thrown away after a few years of use. Instead of throwing such materials away, it would be much more beneficial to send them to schools in need, such as Scholars Special. SHEBI has engaged in such programs and sends materials to various schools in Bangladesh. But it also needs the help of more schools to donate materials. Seeing the dedication and passion of teachers in Bangladesh and talking to the students is a memory that I will truly cherish. Visiting all these people who care so deeply about helping underprivileged students and their families inspired me to do as much as I can to help them. Their selflessness and determination to help, despite all of their limitations, motivated me. Although education is readily accessible in America, it is regarded as a luxury for those not as well off in Bangladesh. While we moan every time we hear the alarm for school in the morning, there are tens of students who wish they would be given the same opportunities we have been so lucky to have. The problems that students in Bangladesh face are unimaginable to me, coming from a country where the government actively works to make sure that education is accessible, affordable, and inclusive. Although the Bangladeshi government has made laws for the disabled, there is much more that needs to be done, not only by the government, but by the people of Bangladesh in order to make inclusive education a reality. Real change will come when everyone is aware of the issues and works together to resolve them. By supporting and following in the footsteps of these heroes, we can truly make a difference. Thank you.
Actually, this speech was originally requested to my wife, but her mother is sick, so she couldn't come. So she requested me to tell on her behalf few words. So that's what I called Firuz Bhai, that you can include my name. So I'll speak for 5-6 minutes. You know, this, I go Bangladesh every 2 years, sometimes every year for a couple of weeks, and I see patient in my rural town, village. I have an orphan, their orphanage. There I see, I saw a clinic, and we see patient. Even last year, I saw a lot of patients, but I think one patient is autism. Autism is such an illness, it's a spectrum of disease. It's not like a one thing you can diagnose easily. I will tell you like a plain word, so that because majority are laymen, so I'm not going to give a real scientific explanation. So if you check your blood sugar 2-3 times, if it is high, then you say you are diabetic. If your blood pressure is high, at least 3 occasions, you are hypertensive. Autism, you cannot tell one time. And autism usually really picked up by parents because they are is a little different in her milestone development. Milestone development means smiling and the way expression face and the look is different. It's not like a normal. It's all behind. And the child usually speaks very late. Even by 1 year, doesn't speak any word. By 2 years, definitely should, but no words, no sentence coming out, nothing. So there are all kind of parents, particularly mother, can pick up something wrong. So then, usually, concerns and bring to the doctors. The doctor also take a few visits to decide what to do and to refer to someone. There is no really good medicine for it. All kind of, as you heard from previous speaker, it have to be like all behavioral therapy, language motivation, language therapy, speech therapy. Sometimes, psychologist can give some medication. Sometimes the audiology makes sure that child's hearing is okay, make sure her eyesight is okay. All faculties have to be checked out. So now, why is that autism? Autism is a spectrum of disorder we call ASD. This is a genetic illness. It's not like an infection or anything. It's not like a catchy. So it's a genetic infection. If one sibling has a autism illness, there are 5 times more chance of the other brother, sister, other things they will develop. And how you picked up, usually the behavior is a little much different and they repeat same words. I say, what's your name? And the same child will repeat it, what's your name? Same thing, he's repeating same thing. So repeated same sentence. Then, and if you give one toy to the child, and that particular toy, he likes that toy. There is no any other toy he likes. Particular toy, always bonded with the toy. So particular area, he touches the body all the time, he holding the hands like there. So these are the way the parents or somebody can pick up that something wrong, it could be autism. Then there is no, by doing examination, doctor also could not find anything except sometimes they find their milestone like a facial expression, speech, everything delayed, and also their head could be little big, and the muscle tones are kind of like a flabby, like a hypotonia we call. And so not too many any findings doctor can decide. Sometimes they do some blood test like a thyroid function test because they bring some development anomaly thyroid, sometimes PQU, some kind of other test. Sometimes they can do some kind of like a to rule out the other brain problems like a MRI, CAT scan, just to make sure there is nothing else is there curable. So we do all that, then question of treatment. Usually in this country around 2% incidence to the prevalence 2%, and so one in 50. If you count 50 children, one could be autism or mild or kind of showing autism. In Bangladesh, there is no any really good statistics. As you know, a lot of children are mentally retarded, and the autism, some other psychiatric illness, they are really Bangladesh, the representatives undiagnosed, underrepresented. So there is no really any good statistics I can tell from the Bangladesh, but here we have some knowledge coming out every day, news, media, article, things like that. So the treatment, basically you have to do behavioral therapy and also language. Teacher, you have to hire technical teacher, how to respond the language, how to do behavioral response, how to motivate the child to do their daily activities, eating, food, clothing, everything. Teacher, they teach everything. And that's very, very important. Medicine cannot help it. Some medicine is there, like if the patient like hyperactive, then they can give you some Ritalin medication and to slow down. And sometimes some child are moody, suddenly become upset, suddenly throwing things. Then you can give you some mood or SSRI, we call antidepressant, you can give that to control the mood. Then there are some other medication, anxiety, you can give some low dose of lorazepam, things like that. So it's all are symptomatic treatment. There is no any good treatment. Basically, you have to do your behavioral learning, and also, if possible, you have to go genetic counseling. Genetic counseling means Bangladesh, I doubt any genetic, people are there. Here we have big hospital have all genetics clinics, genetic, you can refer them, they can counsel it. What are the chance of next child or next things, could be autism, they will tell you all this stuff. And also, most importantly also, audiometry, like a hearing test, make sure child's hears okay. If hearing is good, he can respond it very well. So things like that. So, most important thing to do these things, it costs a lot of money, because at least 25 hours a week, special teacher have to teach one child to make her the life fit, so that that child can grow up and can do their daily activity, living by himself or herself. But usually the autism, the illness, mostly we see in the man, 5 times more than in the male child than woman child. But there is another called similar, called Rett syndrome, R-E-T-T. That opposite, females are more than male. So all are genetics, so we don't want to go in detail. So most important thing is your behavioral therapy and language, skill, that kind of stuff. Other thing is, if my child is autistic child, and I know what I'm going through, because my child, he have to grow, he have to live with it, and he has to die, he have to have all support whole life. So parents are always kind of, very sad, and they don't know what to do, because nothing, medication is not helping. So there is a call, Autistic Society of America, www.aso.org. You can get all online support. And also, you might know some other family has a autistic child. You can talk to that family, what they are doing, and you can make a close connection with them so that you can get some reconciliation so that you are not alone. So that kind of stuff. So just communication and this mental strength is very, very important. So I think if you have any other question, I can talk to you back. Assalamu alaikum.
I will now request Mr. Azad Khan to come to the podium.
It's my immense pleasure and privilege to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Khandagar Karim, Accounting Department Chair, Professor UMass Lowell. It's not long ago, 4.5 years ago, Dr. Karim joined the Manning School faculty after 11 years at Rochester Institute of Technology. He published more than 60 in his articles in various prestigious journals like the AABR, Accounting Organizations and Society, AOS, Behavioral Research in Accounting, BRIA, and many more. Dr. Karim served on several editorial boards, and only about 3 weeks ago, Dr. Karim achieved Research Journal editorship. Please welcome Dr. Karim. Let me turn my phone off. Okay. So you can see from my introduction that I'm not a physician or a scientist, so my presentation will be very long. So what I'm going to do is talk about this autism issue from a high-level, big picture kind of presentation. And you have heard very good presentations, and so my presentation will be an icing on the cake. Okay, so if I make any mistakes, please bear with me. So the agenda will be, first we're going to talk about what autism is, then we're going to talk about brief background of autism, and then we're going to talk about the causes of autism, and then we're going to talk about what's happening in the world, and then we're going to talk about various charitable contributions and foundations that are working to fight autism, and the support structure we have, and autism in Bangladesh. Okay, so let's talk about the definition first. So it is a mental state. It is a mental state, and it talks about when we have a problem with communicating or forming a relationship or using language, and those are the primary symptoms of autism. Brief background, historical background, not technical background. So it starts from 16th century. Church reformer Martin Luther, he first identified this unique behavior. And then the term itself was coined by Eugen Bleuler. He's a Swiss psychiatrist, and that he also observed that behavior back in 1910. And then in 1938, the autism was first studied in depth by scientists and the physicians. And what causes autism? So the causes are, first of all, the pollution, drugs, genetic constraints, occasionally immunization. Fathers, interestingly, fathers pass 80% of the mutation of the problem to the kids. An environmental toxin affecting men's reproductive DNA was introduced around 1995, causing autism to spike in the children. And fathers are 4 times more likely to create the problem autism than the mothers. And it comes from the DNA glitches leading to autism, and as well as to the offsprings. Then the autism in the world, this is also interesting. You see, Japan has got the highest number, part 10,000, Japan has got 181 kids suffering from that mental disorder. It's an interesting statistics. And the number of charitable foundations and the organizations working for it, it's ever ending. I mean, they're just flooded, but I have listed just few. One is Autism Autoimmunity Project, the Autism Research Foundation, Autism Research Institute, the list goes on and on. Autism Society of America Foundation, Autism Speaks, Cure Autism Now, Drug Fluid and Foundation for Autism, Fighting Autism, and National Autism Association. And support structure, this is also very interesting. So if you look at the numbers from 2011 through 2014, 2011 was a big spike. The estimated dollars amount spent, dollars in millions, 192 million. So in 2016, they're budgeting 193 for that problem. So that's a pretty big number, right? So, but from 11 to 2013, it was like a plateau. So there was no major spike in the numbers. And Harvard researchers estimated that when you have a problem with autism, the number of dollars you spend for supporting the child is much higher than you spend money for a regular child. But I keep that space blank. I'm going to ask you this question. What is the incremental amount of dollars we spend for a child who is suffering from autism? Can you tell me? Any clue? You'll be surprised if I put the number in. $17,000 on the top of a regular child. So it's a pretty hefty amount to support somebody who is suffering from the problem. And in Bangladesh, what's happening? So first of all, we heard a lot, and I think they had good presentations. Autism is fairly recent discovery in Bangladesh, very recent. And beginning of this decade, autistic children are screened and identified by few trained parents who had Western exposure, and their kids are suffering from autism, and they went to Bangladesh and start running those special schools for the autistic kids. And trained parents are now operating special schools. And it is estimated that the total number of persons with autism could as high as 1.4 million, and of whom only a few hundred have diagnosed because of the poor health infrastructure, as we know. And the great attitude towards autism is mostly very negative, and it's a social barrier, I mean, because of the society we come from. And I pick up some interesting pictures, how the kids are getting engaged by the various organizations to help the kids to grow. And I call No Child Left Behind. You see here, the kids are playing. I think the instructor is teaching the kid. This is very interesting stuff. And that's all about my presentation. So there's no Q&A.
presentation, I'll be talking about my recent trip to Bangladesh and visiting Scholar Special School. So, Scholar Special School is located in Dhaka, Bangladesh for students with intellectual and developmental delays, and the teachers are guided by the students are guided by many specialized teachers that are dedicated to help these kids with special needs, and the students were mostly kids with developmental and intellectual delays, such as autism and Down syndrome, which we heard about in the previous presentations. So, what is early intervention? Early intervention is a system of coordinated services that promotes child's age-appropriate development and growth and supports families throughout the younger years. How is early intervention implemented in Scholar School? Students were divided into age and skill level groups. Each group was led by a trained teacher that was capable of handling the students in a way that would be beneficial for them. The system makes sure that students' unique needs are met and that they are efficiently able to learn. The students are also supplied with necessary resources such as lunches and school supplies. Untrained people are also able to help out in the school. I've noticed that many volunteers generously donated their time to provide support for these kids and help keep the school orderly. Daily routines. The kids started the day with some warm-ups and games which got them engaged and ready to work. They then split up into their specific groups in which teachers instructed them and helped them complete their skill-building activities. A lot of intellectual growth and development resulted from the guidance of these teachers. The kids were also taught self-discipline and proper classroom behavior, as well as how to interact with other students. And these are just some pictures I took while I was visiting. And in the half day that I spent with these kids, they presented a dance to me that they had been working on for a long time. It was a truly heartwarming experience to witness this dance performance, and their hard work really shined through. I was really impressed by the children's ability to be guided into presenting such a wonderful dance. It truly shows that each of those students have a lot of potential, and that potential should be nurtured from a young age. The teachers there are exceptional and really should be respected for all they do for the kids. The school has a really great learning environment that promotes a lot of progressive development, and many more institutions like this should be made so that more students are able to uncap their true potential. I'm very fortunate to be part of this team and would like to thank SHEBI for giving me such a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
I went to Bangladesh a few years back. There is a lady who brought, like you all know, like Chuta Bua, brought her son who is 7 years old and does not talk, no eye communication, no eye contact. He says something that doesn't make any sense, and the lady says, a lot of people comes ask for medicine. So she also said, like, afa ekta oshud lekhe den or chileta bhalo hoye jay. Then I realized that, they don't know what's going on with that child. So from then I wanted to start to work for these underprivileged kids. And then finally I got able to chance to work through the SHEBI. Then I visited the school, Scholar Special School, which is in Dhaka, and you already have information from Nabiha's lecture and Sarah's lecture. And we already have information from Borna, like what we need. So I just don't want to take much time, but I want to add that maybe we all should join and help so that these kids get the proper opportunities. In the school, Scholar School, they start with the day with playing toys so that they get some skilled learning to improve their motor skill and their speech and all these things. So we can help that way. They need the snack money, they need the school supply, and the teachers, they're very dedicated. Also, we need to support them. There's few people that I met while I was in Dhaka in that Scholar School. Bithika Di, Monjudi, and Sadia. Definitely they are very excellent, dedicated person. I have to tell Firoz Bhai that if you can let them know that they're very excellent, they're very supportive. They gave their heart for those kids. So these are short, brief things that I want to share, and you already know about the SHEBI and then all their schools and support. I would say that we all should join and acknowledge this and support. Thank you.
Many thanks to Dr. Ainul Haq and Nabia. for the presentation. And actually, there's a saying here, right? Put your money where your mouth is. So actually, every time I go from my own personal pocket, and my sister also, we give quite a bit of money to Scholar Special School. The other schools like Proyash and the Navy School, and they are actually pretty well funded. So they told me that actually we don't need any money. All we need really is information and training. That's what they need. But obviously, most of the other schools are not funded at all, and they're struggling. So that's where materials and money would help quite a bit. Now I'd like to invite our chairman, Firoz Bhai, to give a talk on his experience when he visits schools, and obviously, as you can see, he's very dedicated.
And I could go out of sequence. As you know, I'm aging fast. You did that, okay. I will not talk about anything that my previous speakers did tell you about what is SHEBI or autism. I'll talk about my feelings about all of you and the schools that I visited. And these pictures will be going on. I asked her to put it in a slideshow so that I can mention a few things. This gentleman is no longer with us, Bitti Bhai, and he was a big supporter to us. And not only financially, but morally, and he felt for the needs of people. He was a big, good-hearted man in Boston. He left us. And these are the things I feel strongly, that's why you are here. You are so motivated that you are here today. And I feel like I'm empowered. I am trusted. Those feelings I get, and I feel very happy. Being Boston is like my second home. I've been here for 42 years. And I made a lot of friends. And now I feel you're no longer my friends. You are my family. Anytime I talk, they respond so nicely, like Haley from Rhode Island. From the south, from the north, up Massachusetts, a lot of people showed up, or they keep in touch, they donate. And they open their hearts in not only, as I said, not only financially. They came to support in any way they can. They are volunteering outside to assist the people who are coming inside the auditorium. They having help with the food. So I am kind of relieved these days because we have new members in, like Nabiha, youngest one, Sarah, who spoke to you a few minutes ago. So I'm very proud of people that I know in Boston area. And about those, I'll mention a few things. I love Aesop. He said all of good things. Now I'm going back. I have 6 versions of Aesop's fables. I read that as I travel, because they are not big stories. Short stories, they tell you the truth. Isn't it wonderful? You can think about it, reading Aesop's again. Okay, this is our first project of highest investment, about $90,000. And we don't even see $9,000 nowadays. That was in 1990, when we raised $90,000 to get the building of a cyclone shelter. I think they talked about it. That was our major project. And outside the mainland of Bangladesh, it was an island in Sandip. And that was a school. So that got wiped out. And then we rebuilt in the form of a cyclone shelter. It can serve dual purpose. And these are that's a school in Kustia, where this girl is dancing. She is deaf. So how can she perform with the sound, with the music, with the signals? So they have learned so much from the teachers. And we owe so much to the teachers and the parents in Bangladesh that they are keeping these kids in better shape than they used to be. The parents are wonderful. I met a lot of parents. So we need to support the parents also, and to help the parents too, because they endure so much pain on every single day that they have to keep their child in a shape that they can relate to the society also. In the past, they used to hide their children. Now they are with the help of the schools, they can, the kids do better. So that's why you are here, and we are not small anymore. All of you are with us. So I feel strong. This time I think we have the highest audience, right? Seema, you think? Yipti? Well, so highest number of audience increasing. We're doing better, I believe. And what else? That kid, he's sitting somewhere. He was chasing me as I was going up and down, and he hugged me, and I feel very bad that we couldn't do any help on this school, this one. Only a few schools that we couldn't do anything. This gentleman, also one of our friends who left us a few months ago, about 40 days ago, Alam Bhai. So we are very grateful to those people and to all of you. So I don't know whether I should take too much of your time. If you have any question, please ask me. Also, I'll mention one thing, that we have many schools left that I visited, but we could not help them. If you like to know, we'll pass on to you, and we are ready to tell you any question. Like one gentleman, he's here today, I'm sure he's here. He asked me why, one question, why are you trying to help the people who has no real future? Because disabled or autistic or special needs children, they don't have much future if you think that way. They don't build big careers, except for people like Einstein, he was autistic. Bill Gates has socially autistic. Bill Gates and a lot of other people, like the musicians, they are somehow deaf, somewhere blind, but they performed well. Because, what's the name there? Helen Keller was also, I think, blind, as well as a lot of problems she had. But they have contributed to the world. So why not we can do something, even the autistic and other people can contribute to this society. And why are you doing this? Why are you not giving in Bangladesh to the people who have more potential? They can work if we fund their schooling. They can serve, they can make more money, they can even be employers. But still the autistic, we are helping other people. We are not helping the child only. We are helping the parents to let them go to work. So whatever the question was, why are you helping who has no future? Actually, the other people, they are running the family. They are employers also. They are big officers in Bangladesh. They are educated. We are helping them. So if they can make money, they can give it to their kids, they can give to the others, they can still maintain being an employer and a good citizen. So I think it's not wasted or not. My wife also told me that too. Why are you not helping? So he's not the only one who asked me that question. She said that if you give the money to somebody able, they can be immediately productive. This is a long-term process. So we are helping the parents. So they are in workforce. They are making money. They are helping. So this is anything else that I can tell, because I have traveled to many places in Bangladesh. Khulna is one of our schools. And today, as I mentioned, the two of our friends who are no longer with us, we are very grateful to them. I'll mention we have a wonderful guest today. Unexpected arrival, she did. Is Sharon here still? Okay. Would you mind coming for a minute or two? And I would ask Iftikhar Rahman to introduce Sharon to you. Thank you.
So Sharon has actually, I would say she is instrumental in laying the seeds, For twice she spent 2 years, she was in Bangladesh. She went to Chittagong, Khulna, Dhaka, of course. And she really put her heart and soul into it. And that's what gave us actually recognition amongst the schools, and schools heard about it. And actually you saw a lot of pictures that had Sharon in it. And I can't, quite express our gratitude to her for all the work that she's put into Bangladesh, you know. Sharon?
In Bangladesh. It was my honor to be with teachers who were dedicated to serving the needs of special needs children. It was my honor to be with those students in the classrooms. I want you to know that the teachers that are in Bangladesh who have devoted their lives to special needs are very, very unique and hand-chosen teachers. Their work is difficult, but every day they dedicate themselves to providing services so that these students will be productive members of society. These are not people that Allah has given us to not make a difference. These are people, these are children that Allah has given us to make a difference. They can learn. They can learn to be productive. And it's very important that we spread that message, that these are people just like you and I who have a reason to be on this earth. They will be productive. And it is up to us to facilitate that process. So thank you for all that you do and for all that you encourage in Bangladesh.